Have you ever thanked God for the trauma in your life? I have, and I do. I'm so thankful that I get to experience the things that I have. And you might ask, well, why? Why would you want to go through all that trauma? It's not that I want to go through all the trauma. It's because of the things I got to learn through my trauma. I became a better person because of my trauma. I have a better understanding and a bigger capacity for love because of my trauma. I often relate my story to Joseph's story in the Bible, except that he was a lot more pure than I was, for sure. But when he was 16 years old, he was sold to the slaves, as a slave to foreigners, and was separated from his family, all alone. And I was dropped off on the streets when I was 16 because I refused to abort my baby. And I was separated from my family and all alone. I felt scared. I felt abandoned. I felt super rejected, unloved, unworthy, good for nothing. I was tormented by pain. I could only imagine how Joseph would have felt as well. Do you ever feel rejected, abandoned, all alone? Nobody's for you? I felt that way most of my life. Joseph went through so many trials. He was sold. He was accused of trying to sleep with the king's wife. He was put in prison. But when he was in prison, he was put in charge of the prisoners. His destiny was to save the nation and his family when a famine came. If he hadn't gone through all the things that he went through, if he wasn't sold to foreigners to be slaves, if he didn't get the chance to be in prison and be charged of the prisoners there to gain skills, then he probably would never have been second in command of the king. He probably wouldn't have had the skills to sell the wheat and to make money off the land and to provide in the famine and to save his whole family from famine. What about you? How has your trauma made you a better person? Or are you still in the midst of it and you can't see it yet? My trauma was being kidnapped twice by my dad, living in hotels for over a month, raped at 10 years old by my protector, the one that I loved and trusted, my dad. He was my everything. We had a very close-knit relationship until that day. It was so traumatic, I blocked it out of my memory, only to remember it later when I was 47 years old, just a couple years ago. I remember begging him to stop. I thought you loved me. I thought you loved me, Dad. This is so wrong. Please stop. That day changed my life forever into a life of torment and fear of people, PTSD, social anxiety, borderline personality disorder, depression. It was the door that desensitized me to become a stripper and then a prostitute. It shut me down emotionally. It gave me problems to connect with people emotionally, and even my children. And I still struggle with that today, with connection. But if I hadn't gone through the trauma that I did, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have spent over $100,000 and 25 years on self-development I wouldn't have the understanding of people like I do now. I want to be able to walk into the destiny that God has created me to walk in. I wouldn't have the passion or the love or the influence to help others that also deal with very deep emotional pain. Have you heard the verse James 1:2-4? It says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you have met trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." It took me many years to understand, but I do now, and it's beautiful, and I wouldn't have it any other way. How are you thankful for your trauma? Has it made you a better person? And I should leave you with this. John 16-24. "Truly, truly, I say to you, that you shall weep, but the world shall rejoice. And you shall be grieved, but your grief shall become joy. The woman has grief when she is in labor, but her hour has come. But as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the affection for joy that her baby was born into the world. And you, therefore, have grief now, but I shall see you again, for your heart shall rejoice, and no one takes your joy away from you. Until now, you have asked not in my name. Ask in order that your joy might be complete."